Good morning, good morning. I'm just writing something down. Hey, good morning. It is July 20th, 2021. It is 8:17 a.m. here on the... Oh. Can y'all see me? Am I on the wrong screen here? Y'all can't see me. Having some issues with the webcam here. One second. There it is. There, you can see me. Hello and good morning. All right. Today, I actually prepared somewhat of a topic. First off, I just want to give a huge shout out to the newest followers on Twitch. Thank you. We got a handful of followers this morning right before we went live. We got Rage Incarnate, Grizzly, Operator, Mike, or ML Clark. I think that's Mike Clark, though. I think I know who you are. Welcome to the show, everybody. Reminder, this is a live show, so feel free to interact, talk, do whatever. We are currently live on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. If you haven't already, make sure you follow us on whatever platform you choose. I'm not going to say follow on all of them. If you really want to be a true supporter, follow on all three platforms, but follow on whatever platform you like to actually watch on, whatever one's going to keep you engaged. If you're listening later on the podcast, make sure you follow us on those platforms so you can catch us live. But if not, that's okay. If you like it, listening on Spotify or whatever you listen on afterwards. I actually don't know my I know what I can see what I stream to, but what the podcast, distributes to. But I actually don't know as of right now who listens on what. So maybe by the end of the week, I'll get some of those numbers in. But today, I actually have a topic in mind. Obviously, this is a live show, so it can end up wherever, based on viewer interaction. But today, I wanted to talk about just, going to the gym, working out, training, and just my journey through physical training and what I've learned about just not only working out, but like the culture of it. Maybe a little bit about the supplement industry, a little bit about just a little bit of everything. And this is going to apply to everybody. This isn't just for me. This probably isn't for meatheads, honestly. I have been called the meathead several times, even though I'm 5'9", $176. I weighed in at $176 yesterday. At football, I do play football. Sports has been a huge part of my life, which got me into weight training. And I'm just gonna just go through the journey of it all. How it's helped me, how it's benefited me, and then how I was able to excel, or am able to excel, in weightlifting. And it is something that, on the football team, that does separate me a little bit. I am probably not, this is just factual, probably the strongest person on the team, pound for pound. What that means is, for those who don't understand what that means, I'm not the strongest person head up. Like, there's like linemen who can probably lift more than me or whatever. But as far as like, if you were to take the total weight somebody lifts and divide it by their body weight, That's kind of what I mean. Uh, so I got started lifting weights in middle school for football. Like I said, I played football almost my whole life. And so middle school, going to a public school in Texas, they start training you early. Training us hard. I did summer like programs. Every summer I spent 6 or 7 weeks in the summer going 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, early in the morning. I would go to this thing called Performance Course in Allen, Texas, and we weight trained. We, did stuff on the field. We trained direction, top end speed, vertical jump, like maxing out on lifting, all that, like testing all of that, training for all of that, just to become a better athlete. And I realized early on that I wasn't the biggest guy, I wasn't the fastest guy, I wasn't the strongest guy. However, I was really coachable. Sometimes almost to a fault, because I would become a little bit robotic sometimes when I would play or perform, and it's something I've had to like work on, because I think too much. My dog in that squeak dead, of course, he doesn't play with the ball until I start going live. Cooper, come here. 1 second, chat. One foot away from her. Okay. You'll get it back after. I promise. He's looking at me. He's so confused. Anyways, so I would always hear the coaches would tell us about lifting weights and stuff, that form matters. Form is what's important. So I really focused on form, and I would say that's what got me efficient. I'm gonna use the word efficient for the rest of the podcast when it comes to like lifting weights. I got really efficient at lifting weights because I focused on form. So like if you're just starting out and you are someone who's trying to get back in shape and lifting weights is a part of your regime, which it should be, make sure that you focus on form, because in the long run, that's what's going to pay off. You're going to get stronger. You're going to get more in shape, but you have to focus on the basics, and that is form. But as the years go by, I focus on form, I focus on technique, but I also just straight up worked harder than most people because I had to, like I said, because I wasn't the biggest, I wasn't the fastest, I wasn't the strongest. And after, I don't know, after some time, it became apparent that I was pound for pound really strong, and coaches noticed. And I think I was a freshman or sophomore in high school when they asked me if I want to do a powerlifting meet. I knew nothing about doing a powerlifting meet. What a powerlifting meet is, for those who don't know, is you have a 1 rep max attempt. So you see how much you can bench, you can see how much you can squat, and you can see how much you can deadlift. And there's some pretty strict rules. Especially as a high school athlete, they had a lot of extra rules for like safety protocol and that kind of thing, because they didn't want us getting hurt. But I was pretty successful in that. And it was just something that I was good at, being light and strong. So fast forward to exiting high school, going into the Marine Corps, I was pretty in shape. I didn't like the physical demands of like boot camp and infantry school and all that kind of stuff. That wasn't really a challenge for me, just because I was in shape. I had the discipline. I mean, growing up, I would literally have to walk a little over a mile early in the morning to school to lift early before school, because during the off season we had the lifting before school, and then I would stay late after, and we would do, off-season football. I would run track, and then I'd have to walk back. And it was something that became a staple of my life, because then during the summer, every day, like I was talking about that summer program, I have to do the same thing. I'd have to walk all the way to the high school, and that started in middle school. So I was every summer from like, I believe 5th or 6th grade Might have started earlier than that, but every summer from 5th or 6th grade until my senior year, walking all the way to the school, training. I don't even remember. I think it was only like an hour, hour and a half, but for our summer course, but it was 7 weeks. The only week we'd have off was 4th of July week. So that was what my summer entailed. I didn't go on vacations. I didn't go on trips, but you know, I knew that I needed to work harder than most people, so that's what I did. Then fast forward, while I was in the Marine Corps, I didn't have a lot of time to lift weights when I was first in, but then when the time came, I took advantage of it. In the Marine Corps, there's kind of like a culture, like the gym is like one of those important things, because I was in the infantry, and when we deploy, when we go out into the field or whatever, most dudes miss the gym. They always talk about gains, always talking about, just getting big, and it's fine. It's something for dudes to focus on, or to like kind of escape a little bit, because a lot of us, most of us, 95% of us, single Marines on base, we were far away from home. We didn't have, all of our friends were Marines pretty much, and it was the thing to do when you got off work or before work or like during work. If we had time, you would go to the gym and lift. And it wasn't even like, it wasn't even competitive, honestly. It was just everybody did their own thing, and everybody was like, had their own method of getting big. Everybody had their own philosophy. Everybody followed their own social media influencer. Everybody had their own like method. I didn't really fall into the fads, and I did at one point focus on getting big, and it was on my first deployment. And like I said, I was in the infantry, so when we were not, doing things in the field, I was lifting. That's just what we had to do. I lifted and played basketball my first deployment, in rugby. That's all I did when I wasn't training or in the field or doing, quote unquote work stuff. And it seems like the trend for every Marine on their first deployment is to just get big. What I mean by that is just like lift, get big. They don't care about cardio, don't care about like how they actually look. Some dudes just get like chubby, but they're big, and they think they're this huge monster, but in reality, they're kind of out of shape. And so what I've learned is that there's a lot of different method to the madness. There's a lot of different reasons why men lift weights. A lot of, or when I like lift weights to get big. I did get into where I just got big, and then I got big, and then I was like, okay, now what? I felt, for me personally, this isn't the same for everybody. I felt that if I was just training with no actual goal, it never satisfied me. I needed to train for a goal. So when I decided to play football again, my weightlifting routine totally changed. And I was always disciplined about going to the gym anyways, because I always stayed in shape. My job is pretty physically demanding, so I wanted to stay strong. I wanted to stay fit. But everybody who's an infantry marine can tell you that lifting, like going to the gym and getting big, is like part of the culture for most of us. Not everybody, for most of us. But I realized that the words training and the words lifting, or the words working out, they kind of mean something. So for me, I don't weightlift anymore. I train. I don't go work out anymore. I train because I have a goal in mind. It isn't, it's heavier than the term working out. To me, when someone says, I go, like, I work out a lot, it's like, okay, good for you, but like, what, for what? Like, what are you working out for? But if someone says, I'm training, it's like, oh, they're training for something. They have a goal in mind. They're setting themselves apart. And it really does make a difference for your own mental mentality to say things, to use different verbiage, to say like, oh, I'm training. Like, it makes it like a precedent. So even when, if you're like kind of pressured to go out with your friends, or for me, I stayed home. I didn't go out drinking. I didn't go out partying that much. I would say, no, I got to train in the morning, or like, no, that's gonna mess with my training routine. And like people took that, like, oh, he's like in training, like, oh, we can't mess with him like that. We can't mess. We gotta like, so the way we can support him is by supporting him in his training. But if I were to say, oh, I gotta work out in the morning, people will be like, oh, you can work out in the afternoon, like blah blah. You can work out whenever. Just sleep in, bro. Like, they don't really take it as seriously as when you say, the word training. So that's the term I use for myself, is I train. I don't work out. And if you were to use that verb, like, let's say if you're someone trying to go back to the gym to get in shape, you're a little overweight, you're maybe you're skinny. Okay, one thing I've learned, I'm a certified trainer, so I actually have actual knowledge. I have actual book knowledge. I've taken classes in college for nutrition, things like that. I'm not just a bro telling you what I think. I actually have a background expertise in a lot of this. Just because you're skinny does not mean you're in shape and healthy. And just because you're jacked does not mean you're in shape and healthy. You can be jacked and have issues with cardio. You can have issues with substance abuse. You can have like just issues with joints, and a lot of things that bodybuilders struggle with is they get injuries based on disproportionate strength. So like a lot of dudes have shoulder issues because their posterior chain, or like their back or whatever, isn't as strong as their front side, their anterior muscles. Okay, posterior means back, anterior means front. See, I got the knowledge for using these big old words. Okay, anyway, so a lot of dudes develop shoulder impingements because there's like an imbalance. Okay, same thing with back, same thing with core, same thing with knees. Like, just because you're jacked does not mean you're healthy, and just because you're skinny does not mean you're in shape. Okay, there's a proper way to do things, and I really harp on this. Being in shape is a thing that is the basis for a whole positive lifestyle, right? So if you're someone who's actively in shape, if you're someone who's been going to the gym, you're someone who stays healthy, eat right, you exercise, you're following like an actual regime, that means, for one, you're somewhat disciplined. Okay, that means you probably get up before work, you're never late to work because you're already up, and you have the mental fortitude to do something a little bit extra to keep your body healthy, to keep you around. You probably have less health issues. You probably don't really go to the doctor. You probably aren't really concerned with getting sick. You probably weren't concerned with COVID. Okay, I don't know very many people who are like studs who got COVID and it was an issue. I actually don't know any. The only people I know that got COVID and it was an issue are people who are overweight or old, or both. I do know one person who wasn't overweight who got COVID and it was an issue, but they were a person, like I said, they were skinny, but they weren't healthy. They weren't in shape. Okay. So if you're just working out, even if it's 3 times a week, training 3 times a week, weightlifting 3 times a week, it's gonna set you up for success in so many ways that people don't really understand. And I promote fitness as like a way to make your life better all the way around. Like overall wellness, and fitness is just part of that. People don't realize that when you are sedentary, you don't train, you don't work out, it affects everything in your life. Not only does it affect your body, it also, like your heart, your BMI, like your body fat, like your actual makeup of your body gets all out of whack and not healthy. It also doesn't do anything for your mental health. physically training is so important for your mental health. I'm not saying it's a cure all, but I'm just saying that if you could Google any sources right now, what helps with depression, what helps with a lot of mental impairments or mental issues, they will tell you to exercise, be on a good diet. The American standard diet, as we would say, is so shitty. It is so bad for you. The American standard diet is full of processed foods, high sodium, high amount of trans fats, and a lot of sugar, white refined sugar to be specific. And it's just, none of it promotes health. None of it promotes wellness. Okay? So if you can do things to just not eat fast food 3 times a week, 4 times a week, 5 times a week. I know people who eat fast food almost every day. If you can do things that just you eat healthier options, even if you have to have, like, look, right now, my wife and I's schedule is all messed up, so we order food quite a bit, but we try to order healthy. That doesn't mean you have to cook at home every meal. Literally, I don't get home, me and my wife literally don't get home until 6:30, 7 o'clock at night, and we go to bed around 9:30, 10. So that doesn't give us a lot of time to cook. Sometimes we prep and we plan before, we go to work and we can come back and whip it together real quick, or we'll like meal prep. I don't really like meal prepping, to be honest. I don't like the way the food tastes when it's been sitting in a fridge in a box and I gotta microwave it. I don't like that taste, so I'd rather just make something fresh if I can. But you can do simple things that make a huge difference. Working out 3 times a week, going on a walk the other 2 days. That's, you worked out, you exercised, got out and exercised 5 times a week, rest right there. If you go to the gym 3 times a week and then 2 days out of that, like, that aren't those 3 days. So like, let's say Monday through Friday. We're just gonna talk Monday through Friday. Saturday, Sunday, you got your weekend, you're too busy, you can't go. Okay. Let's say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you go to the gym. Tuesday, Thursday, you go for a walk before work. Boom. 5 days a week, right there, you exercised. It's not that difficult. Really not. If you, even if you have to go to work early, okay, listen, I woke up during quarantine at 5:30 every single day. I didn't have anywhere to go. I did stuff around the house to make me feel proactive. I tried to make money on my computer. I tried to do this. I tried to do that. I streamed video games. Every day I woke up at 5:30, went to the gym, came home, started my stream at around the same time every single day. Okay? It's, if you can just wake up and no matter what, even on the weekends, maybe, or maybe even on your days off, wake up at that time, it makes you just more productive. And I have never regretted waking up early and going to the gym. Not a single time. It's a little different for me now because I play football, so it's almost mandatory that we train together, lift together. I mean, it is mandatory. Like, today, I will be lifting with my position, wide receivers, and quarterbacks at 1:30 p.m. So that's where I'll be. So it's almost forced. And then we have film, and then we have practice. Of course, I got to get tested for COVID today. Fun fact. But kind of forgot where I was going. All right, moving on. I have learned that there's multiple ways that you should train, and no way is the 100% correct way. If you have specific ends in mind, whether you want, let's say you do want to be a bodybuilder, let's say you do want to be a powerlifter, let's say you do want to play football, maybe you do want to play basketball, maybe you do want to play a sport, or maybe you just want to get in shape. There are specific ways to weight train and physically train to get to those means, and there is a right way. Like, if you're a long distance runner, you should lift weights still, but you're not going to lift this weights the same as you're a sprinter. Okay, I'm not going to go into the details of all this. I'm just giving an overall broad perspective, overall broad advice, overall, just telling you like just sharing some of my knowledge and experience with training, with working out, with being a meathead. Now the term meathead, I've come to love it kind of way, kind of. So I get the whole getting called a meathead, and a lot of meatheads. I don't consider myself a meathead, but people have called me it, so I embrace it. To me, the term meathead is kind of a badge of honor, in a way, in the weightlifting like community, weightlifting world. Uh, it's someone who is jacked, who maybe has a brute way of doing things, but a lot of dudes who get jacked are not dumb. It takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of brains to get that way. Granted, there are some genetically gifted dudes who are not that bright, and we all know them. But I bet if you were to talk to any any bodybuilder, any powerlifter at the gym, they give off the meathead persona. But if you go and talk to them, they're probably pretty intelligent. Some of them have very successful jobs. A lot of them have very diverse background stories. Okay. And people are probably listening to this, and you don't work out, you don't train, or you do work out, you do train, but you're like, ugh, this guy's just a stupid meathead. Like, that's fine. That's okay. If anybody knows me, you know that I'm not just a dumb meathead. But I would say that when you go to the gym, the big bodybuilder dudes, they're probably not judging you. A lot of people are worried about when they start going to the gym for the first time. Unless you're really fat, but if you're just an average Joe and you're just going in there working out, I guarantee you bodybuilders, as long as you stay out their way and you don't take their weights and you don't like take forever in a machine, you know, just simple gym etiquette, maybe rack your weights, all that kind of stuff. As long as you're just doing you, bodybuilders, the big jack dudes at the gym, they do not notice you at all. Nobody's talking bad about you. No one's judging you. Most people are probably encouraging because they want you to get jacked. If you go and ask them questions on how to lift, they'll probably talk your ear off about how to do a lift better, about how to train a certain muscle group better. All right. So the whole feeling you don't want to go to the gym because you feel judged is kind of that's not an excuse any longer. You know how I know that bodybuilders and the big guys at the gym don't notice you is because they're looking at themselves in the mirror, and they could really care less what you look like. They care about what they look like and what the other big dudes at the gym look like. That's kind of it. I get self-conscious too when I go to the gym. Don't, like, if I go to a public gym, like, don't think that just because someone's in shape, someone's in, you know, like, good at lifting weights, like I'm efficient at lifting weights. Like I said, I feel like I look pretty decent, but I get self-conscious when I go to the gym too. There's always somebody bigger. There's always somebody stronger. There's always somebody that looks better. You know, I critique myself all the time. Like, oh, my chest isn't that big. Oh, my abs aren't that good looking. Or my arms aren't that big. Or my tricep isn't that defined. You know what I mean? Like, I have critiques about myself. We all have critiques about ourselves. That's what makes you human. And that's, you know, that's kind of a good thing. If you have critiques about yourself, go work on it. I have little calves. I always have. I've trained my calves so freaking hard, and they just won't grow my whole life. And I know how to train calves, and I know how to get them bigger. They just won't. And a lot of it is genetics. Calves is one of the stubborn things that is a lot in genetics. But just because someone is in shape does not, or just because someone even, maybe like huge bodybuilders at the gym, like championship bodybuilders, are self-conscious on how they look because that is their form, you know, that is their sport, is how you look. Literally how they're sculpted is their sport, and they're gonna be self-conscious. They're gonna critique themselves. So look, everybody, I did this podcast today to try to encourage people to go to the gym, just to share the light about just a little bit about my background about working out, and like just the culture behind it. I don't even know if I did a good job, but I'm saying all this to say, you know, go to the gym, go work out. It's good for you, and you should. And I promise that nobody is judging you how you look at the gym. The fact that you're there is important. And if you're a meathead out there, embrace it. Be the meathead. That's fine. Just don't be a meathead in a conversation. Be meathead at the gym, if that makes sense. Somebody comes and talks to you, don't be a dick at the gym. We all know those guys. We all know the dude who is really good at the gym and he's a dick about it. All right, don't be a dick about it. That goes the same with any hobby, honestly. The worst things about getting into most hobbies, especially in like shooting and the gun community, I hate most. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you guys. I hate most people in like the shooting and gun community. I genuinely do. There's not everybody, but most people who are in the gun community, like who do a lot of stuff at the range, who do a lot of tactical shooting and all that, they're kind of just dicks to new people in the hobby. Because if you're not training to go to war, and you're not training to do like 3-gun, even if you are training to do 3-gun competition, if you're not training to go to war, or like if you're not on a SWAT team, it's a hobby at that point. Okay, it is. It's a hobby. Going to the range, it's a hobby. Okay. I've shot guns my whole life. It's a hobby. Okay. The worst people in a hobby are the veterans of that hobby, the experienced people of that hobby being absolute dicks to the new people in that hobby. I see it all the time. I don't go to gun shows that often because I get so annoyed about 80% of the people there. I did go to a gun show back home in Texas at South Fork Ranch last winter. Actually, it was actually pretty nice. Most people there were just good dudes who had some guns and they were just trying to sell them. However, there was the handful of people who were just like snobby know-it-alls, and I'm you know, everybody at a gun show is the former Ranger, Navy SEALs, Scout, Sniper, Recon, Ranger, Air Assault, whatever, Special Forces Command, like oh my gosh, like every single person you meet at a gun show seems to be some sort of like Special Forces operating sniper, sharpshooter. They were there when Bin Laden got killed. Like every single gun show, there's always like a handful of those people. Just a newsflash, there's not enough of those people to go around. So some people are full of it. Okay. Ask me how I know. Okay. The gym is no different. The gym, you know, working out, there's always those dicks or the veterans who are always dicks to the new guys. There's always the people who are experienced in a hobby that are just rude, they're not helpful, they put down people that are new. At the gym, I always try to, unless somebody doesn't have good gym etiquette, I always try to like build people up at the gym. If I say anything to anybody, I don't say hardly anything to anybody, but when I do have conversations with people, I usually try to help them or inform them or whatever. I don't go out of my way. Like when I'm not that guy that comes to you while you're lifting and says, hey, do it this way. I'm not going to be that guy unless I see someone about to get seriously hurt, which is usually like a high school kid who's deadlifting with their spine. I don't step in. I don't come to you. But if somebody comes to me, I try to be nice, try to be courteous. I try to teach them how to, you know, if they ask, teach them how to do things. And that's kind of my part. I am technically still a certified personal trainer. I don't really take clients right now. I was taking clients like here and there on the side. And there's people who came to me from all walks of life, wanting to be trained, wanting to get an actual exercise routine. And it's pretty interesting to see that there are people who you wouldn't know it, but are experts or might be good at working out, but they don't look like it. And it was pretty humbling. Or like somebody might challenge my knowledge as a trainer on things. So, but I don't know, guys. I'm just gonna kind of wrap it up for the day. I'll still trying to build up the live audience aspect of it. So if you're listening on Spotify, make sure to come while we're live so to be part of the conversation. The whole point of the show is I'm trying to get the live audience aspect built up so people can interact with the conversation. I don't want to just monologue the whole time. I'd rather communicate with you guys. We are going to have guests. I keep saying we're going to have guests. We're going to have guests. I am trying to get the routine down, and I'm trying to see who I'd want as a guest. I'm trying to feel out the demographic of the show, and I'm trying to work out the kinks. There's kinks that you guys don't see that you guys probably experience them because I say it or something goes wrong on the show. But there's kinks that I got to work out before I can have a guest so it can go smoother. And obviously I got to have a guest that'll help promote the show. All right. So thanks for everybody who's listening. If you're listening on Facebook, if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, make sure you hit that like button. I don't know. Does Twitch have a like button? Is that a thing? All right. If you're watching on Twitch, just say what's up in the chat. I see we got some handful of new followers on Twitch. Appreciate that. I've never streamed on Twitch before, so I'm new to this. But I thank you guys for stopping in. You guys are amazing. Make sure you guys get to the gym. Just kidding. That's not the whole point of the show. Make sure you guys just do better. Make yourself better. Be the best you can be. I can't think of any more motivation type words to say. But thanks for stopping in, guys. And I hope y'all have a good day. I'm going to be going live tomorrow around the same